Hey kids, welcome back to another week of Old Man Plays CFL Weekly Fantasy. Haha. I'm trying to sound as upbeat as possible this week. If I have any advice for you this week, it's don't listen to anything I have to say. Uh, I it's been a bad few weeks. I don't know what's going on with the CFL Podcast Fantasy League. They haven't updated the standings in the last couple of weeks, but looking at the schedule and the scores, I know I've lost a couple from bad decisions. Last week I was up against Sheldon Jones from the 2 and Out. Lost by, what was it here? It looks like about 2.1 points, which the way this season's going with me is a wide margin. They've been tight games. But anyway, I'm down, I believe, at 6-5 now. And I know I sit 10th in overall point scoring in the league. I have no idea where I sit in anywhere in the actual standings. But I'm sure Adam will get those out, and he's my opponent this week. So we'll have to see. I've been struggling with this. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks back to when we were against the average that I don't get a feel for what's going to happen. I've got a few things that are locks. The only one this year has been Xander Horvath has been good, but he's climbing in price. And this week I don't know really. I mean, I'm going in with two certainties. I'm going in with the fact that Davis Alexander is back, and I think you're foolish not to take him. And I do like that Hamilton defense against Kelly and his tendency to throw multiple interceptions. Plus they've been fumbling and who knows what else. So we'll see how that game goes. Apparently Ford's been taking first-team reps, and I've said before, yes, he's got limitations. Yes, he's may grow into something, he may not. I think that if they ever tailor an offense for him and give him a few games where he knows he's in there, he doesn't have to worry too much, that he might start to shine. But I could be wrong too. I will say this though. I don't think that any of the quarterbacks at Hamilton are capable of giving them a lot of points and a lot of wins by playing just standard football. And with either Dalagala, talk Oldman, or Frost, they're going to sit in the pocket and try that, and I don't think it's capable. Ford looked good out of the pocket in the second half last week. He's also looked terrible out of there, but what he does give you is the chance for the off-schedule plays. So that could be an interesting game, but like I said, I don't have faith that anyone there is going to get the ball to Smith or Lawler. And I certainly, while Ford might be a cheaper quarterback, I don't think that's the way to go. So I'm going with Alexander, like I said, at quarterback. And I was tempted for a little while to do a French Ryan Ballantyne and just go all Alouettes. But that wasn't going to work either. So we'll see. So let's think about this. Quarterback, it seems obvious to me, like I said, and that's a good thing. 2 weeks ago, I took VA coming off the win in Hamilton, going into Toronto. I thought he would look fantastic. He's looked bad the last couple of weeks, and he's not a choice this week anyway. Last week, frankly, I was an idiot. I took Harris against Hamilton, completely forgetting that they'd held him to just over 200 yards in the first game that they played. So a deserved loss. I mean, in the end, the point difference, that interception that he threw into triple coverage at the end, cost me the game against Sheldon. But I should never have been in that position. Anyway, so quarterback, yes. Defense, yes. What do I do from there? Well, my running backs, who is worth spending money on as a running back right now? I don't really see too much. Montreal, yes, Thies is there, but he is expensive now. And last time they played Ottawa, they didn't use him so much. So that makes me a little bit worried. And the rest of it, Roundtree, he might be a good choice if they've got Ford in there and he's stretching the edges. But I still don't necessarily see him getting a lot of work, and they aren't running the ball. And again, Bell in Ottawa, Not a chance. They're not running the ball. Winnipeg, Brady'd be great, but $15K, and what if Tommy Condell doesn't use him? It's going to be a tough game for Winnipeg. They're not going to have a lead unless things go very bizarre, and that's where Condell tends to want to run his offense through Tim White again, as he said. So I don't feel good there. Saskatchewan, who's starting? Will Connolly be back? Is it Starr again? I don't know. I haven't seen the depth charts. Connolly isn't on the injury report, so hopefully he's there. But again, BC has an excellent running defense. So it just doesn't seem good there. Rankin in Edmonton started really fast but has cooled off, and I don't know if that's that defenses have learned how to play against him, or Killam did say last week he's a bit dinged and working through it. So I don't feel great about that. And then we go out to BC. Well, Butler is getting far less carries. Horvath is getting a lot more. The Riders' run defense is good, but Horvath is getting the carries, and he's the short yardage guy as well. So I think I'm going to go that way. Cheap out if I can. Who's another cheap running back that maybe looks like they're going to give me some points? Edmonton's been spelling Rankin, putting Leak in every third series, and he's playing fairly well. So I think Leak works out there. And then the same thing when we get down into the receivers. Who can you count on? Nathan may have a good game against Saskatchewan, although that is still a tough defense to throw against, and they're going to put some pressure on him. But who's he going to throw to? Hatcher, maybe, but he's been all over the board, which is good for the team, bad for fantasy. Again, in Saskatchewan, they've got Keyshawn Johnson, but if he's the only one out there, then a defense can shut him down. I did see that Emelis was back on the practice squad playing at full this week, but I don't know if that means he's in or not. Have they taken him off the 6-game list? Who knows? Edmonton, again, there's the lower price guys there. There's Luther and Cephas, who are both pretty good. Mack is getting lots of yards, but not, strangely enough, not as much of the touchdowns from what I've seen. Yeah. And then Winnipeg, they will throw, but to who? Tim White's expensive and not producing at the level that they want. The Toronto receivers will probably get some points, but Polk is out, so there may be Coxie, and Coxie didn't have a good game last week. Hamilton, like I said, don't think you can count on it. So that puts us back to Montreal. Now, the good thing about Montreal is Alexander throws mostly to two people, Philpott and Sneed. A little bit to Speaker, and then you'll get a few others, but Philpott and Sneed are his main ones, and I think they're going to put up a bunch of points against Ottawa, so I'm going to take both of them. So I'm spending my big money, my $15K, on those two receivers and Davis Alexander. Fingers crossed, everything goes well. That meant I had to get someone in at under probably 5, it worked out to about 5K for my flex position. And looking across the board there was Leak, who'd already taken, but a lot of others that probably won't get a lot of work. So I went with Saskatchewan, Mims, because especially if Emelis isn't back in there, he's going to get targets. He has to. If they shut down Johnson, Mims could be a big receiver. I did like also Jate out of Saskatchewan, but for some reason he was on last week at $0 and got me, I think, 5 or 6 points. This week he's just not available on the fantasy. So, like I said, don't listen to me, because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But at the same time, this is what I do every week. So take it for what it's worth. Use any advice here at your peril. And I'm hoping that I start climbing back up, because if I eke into the playoffs, just like the CFL, if you're in, you can win. All right, let's just do a quick recap for you here. I ended up with 1.4K left over, but I'm happy with my lineup, which was the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. My quarterback is Davis Alexander from Montreal. He'll also be my captain. My Running backs will be Xander Horvath out of BC and Javon Leake out of Edmonton. My receivers are the two big guys out of Montreal, Tyson Philpott and Tyler Sneed. And my flex, I've gone with Deshaun Mims out of Saskatchewan. Oh, hopefully you find a much happier old man back here next week. But drop a like if you're enjoying this. Subscribe if you haven't. Be sure to check out our flagship show, the CFL Outsiders, that drops on YouTube and podcatchers on Wednesdays. And we had a fun week with that this week. It was Oz Davis came in and helped me out while the other panelists were not available. So, spoiler alert, I ended up having to do the power rankings and decided to have some fun and take an alternate view on them. And boy, do people take their power rankings seriously. Oh, well. I hope we get some good games. There is some promise this week. Last week was largely duds. This week, other than, well, Montreal should steamroll Ottawa, and I have trouble seeing Winnipeg competing against Edmonton. But the other two games should be relatively close. Saskatchewan's vulnerable with their injuries at receiver. That brings them down to BC's level. And Hamilton should be a much better team than Toronto, but they don't have a reliable quarterback. So those two games, the last two of the week, could be interesting. And unfortunately, we don't have depth charts for them at all, so who knows. That's me done babbling. Old man, signing off.